Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. Down here in the dungeon, also known as the basement, doing some work on PlayStation 2 development hardware. Here we have the basement PC, monitor, and here we have a PS2 tool. Now, this is a pretty standard T10000, and I had a model that got damaged in shipment, and they wound up refunding me the money for it, but they also let me keep the item because they didn't want it. So, everyone knows that in some of the H models, you have this card, which is the PCI 815EE, which uses Celeron chip. This board is capable of using up to a 1 gigahertz with slight overclock settings on there. You have to change it from 100 to 133 bus, and uses SD RAM, and it actually has USB and a bunch of other functions on it. So a lot of people always wondered what would happen if you took that board and you were to put a P3 chip in there. Well, I actually did that. It's a little hard to see right here. Let me get some of these cables out of the way. But as you can see inside, there is a P3 1 gigahertz chip. The only heatsink that would fit in there right now is a socket 7 heatsink. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So the card is installed, and it pretty interestingly does work. So I'm gonna switch over to the second video in, and we'll turn this on. And PS2 tool sounds like a freight engine. It's loud, son of a bitch. Alright. So booting up, and yes, 1 gigahertz. Intel Pentium 3. I'm gonna have to Control delete that again because it boots up so damn fast. There you go. It works amazingly fast. The only problem is, and I'll show you here in a second. I have to Control Alt delete again. Probably easier for me to just turn it off and turn it on again. Alright. Get into the BIOS here. The only problem is with the chip I used. You take a look here at the shutdown temperature. Maximum shutdown temperature is 76 degrees Celsius. And the chip currently runs at 61 degrees Celsius, which is pretty damn hot. Now, the problem is the chip I used has a very small core, and back then socket 370 CPUs did not have a heat spreader. So you had only the tiny little CPU core, making only about ½ inch square contact with that heatsink. I use Arctic Alumina epoxy because there's no retention mechanism for the board. The board just uses a push retention setup, which is real tight squeeze. There's no space at all. So this is the CPU here that I pretty much had, which I bought, and as you can see, it's got the tiny freaking core. That's the only cooling it's getting, and right now it's pretty much exceeding the cooling capability. I'm gonna get thermal damage. I tried closing the case, and it started to shoot up towards 70, which made me nervous. I really don't want to push the envelope as far as thermal on that chip. Now, this is the chip that I should have got, which is the same exact chip but it has this amazingly large heat spreader, so I'm sure I could get a lot better heat dissipation off of that chip. So I'm sort of tempted to get that chip, but the reality is, while the board is capable of it, it doesn't really enhance the capability of the PS2 tool very much. It is lightning fast in execution of commands, but the commands are very simple as far as the PS2 tool. Very limited space, so once you close it up, it heats up very fast. That's probably why they use the Celeron, because it's got a very low TDP. I forget how many watts it is, but substantially less than the maximum for the socket. So I am thinking I'll probably yank that out, because I still have the stock heatsink and the stock Celeron, put that back in. So, interesting experiment. Didn't quite work. But it was nice to try anyway. So, thanks for watching. Gonna do a couple more videos. Been pretty bummed out lately. Haven't really been feeling well and everything, but keep your eyes peeled. I'll probably do a couple more interesting videos. I've got a mod I'm doing right now, which I hope to be able to put on market, which is going to be a backlit WonderSwan. It involves stripping out the LCD and putting in a DSI backlight. Cost less than 20 bucks to do yourself. Real cheap. I'm hoping to get that out soon, so thanks for watching. See you next time.